Welcome back to my iCanMod. It's Tobias here. We're doing something a little bit differently today. So today we're going to be taking a look at a case, and we're going to be opening up and having a walk around. This is what we believe is one of the best value for money cases on the market today in terms of thermals and aesthetics. And that is also going to be for my gaming rig that we'll be building over the next few months. So let's take a look at the Lian Li Lancool II Mesh Performance. Alrighty, before we get into unboxing this, there's a couple of things that are changing around the place here at iCanMod. So as we progress here, you might notice that I'm currently now wearing a lapel mic, which is hopefully a nice upgrade to the audio that you're going to hear from myself. We're also got some a new camera coming on the way. Thank you to the lovely friend of ours that is going to be lending us that for the foreseeable future. So hopefully the video quality will be a bit better as well. And hopefully also get some extra angles and stuff when we're filming. So exciting stuff to look for. Now, before we open this, I do want to have a quick chat to you. So this is the Lancool II Mesh Performance. Now the Lancool II Mesh does come in two versions. You've got the Performance and you've also got the RGB. The main difference being is that the RGB comes with 320mm ARGB fans in the front, but it doesn't have a back fan. Okay. The Lancool II Mesh Performance comes with two 140mm fans and a rear fan as well, but they're not RGB. So this is sort of more aimed at if you're pulling it out of the box and you want the best thermals that this case can buy, that's the best configuration that Lian Li are sending you with. So it's kind of cool that Lian Li give you some options here in terms of the case itself. The RGB model is the only one that comes in white. So if you do want to run non-RGB fans, you'd have to buy the white one and then replace all the fans. The RGB and the Performance both come in black. Now, the only other thing I can see in my investigations, because obviously I haven't unboxed this yet, I want to unbox it with you guys. And from what I can see is, it's the front panel is the main difference in the two cases. So the Performance actually gives you a PWM control. So you can control the speeds of your fans if you've got it plugged into that controller. Other than that, you can plug everything into a single controller and plug it into the board, especially if you change the fans for RGB fans. When it comes to the RGB case, instead of having the PWM controller, which I'll show you once we open this, there is RGB controllers. So there's a color button and a mode button, so you can flip between them without having to connect everything to the motherboard if you haven't got a motherboard that supports that. So this case, now I have my little cheat sheets here because obviously this is sort of a last minute thing and I wanted to make sure we get all the information to you properly. Also being our first review, let's do it right. With this one here, the price. Looking at it here, you've got between 100 and 110 US is what I found online. Now I was mainly looking at the Mesh Performance because that's the one we're looking at today. In Australia, they retail at $155 to $169, which I think is pretty good value here in Australia. I've used some cheaper cases in the past and they really just don't give you much in terms of, cable management and layouts and options. So this is for, I would say this is for someone who's maybe not an instant beginner building a computer. I'd say this is someone who's sort of more that amateur, looking to move more into enthusiast and is thinking about things like multiple drives, cable management, lighting, and just wants all around good performance. So for more sort of high-end gaming rigs as well. And you'll see why the thermals are so great once we open this case. Now the other thing too is this is actually a reboot from the Lancool II. The Lancool II was a great case as well in terms of its functionality and its modularity, I guess is probably the way to put it. So this is actually built on the same case. So if you've got a Lancool II, the internals are exactly the same. The big difference is the meshing, which gives the thermal performance. The front panel that is actually removable has been completely changed, which you'll see when I open it, compared to the Lancool II. Something that I did want to actually point out that I noticed on the Lian Li website, and if you go and have a look, you can actually, if you have a Lancool II, go and buy a Lancool II Mesh front panel to give you that better front flow through the front of the case. So I would definitely recommend that. If you're looking to change your case because you're not getting great thermals, that may be a cheaper option for you rather than having to go and buy a brand new case and transport everything over. It'd just be a matter of pulling the front panel off and putting the new one on. Cool. Now, one of the last things I want to talk about really quickly before we open the box is, from what I can see, to keep the cost down with this case, Lian Li have actually created a base version of it, and then there's additions that you can buy to put in the case, and some of them are actually really great additions, but I can understand why Lian Li wouldn't put them in, because it would increase the cost. And I think if you're talking US dollars, spending $100 or so for a case with great thermals that you can pull out of the box and use, I think they've done the right thing here and given people options. So some of the things that I've found, and we've actually got a few of them here today, the ones that I want for my build. So there's a hot swappable backplate. So in the bottom of the case there is a drive tray where you can put 3.5 HDDs and 2.5-inch SSDs. If you put this in, basically the drive sleds become hot swappable, so you can pull them out, change the drive, slide them back in, and Bob's your uncle, the drive will pop up. On the front of the case, on both the cases, there is a USB-C port which is blank. You can buy an adapter for it, so that's a USB-C cable right there. We're going to be putting that in. And then also, I haven't really decided which graphics card I'm going to buy yet, and this was on sale when I went to get it. So this is an anti-sag bracket that's built for the case that you can put and use for your graphics card. So some great options there, and we'll definitely try and get those little options installed today after we open the box. But I think it's about time that we open it and show you what it's all about. If you are a young person watching this, welcome. Thank you for choosing us to help you, with information for your builds. When you're opening these boxes, you're going to need a sharp knife. Make sure you get someone older that you trust to open the box for you. I have a simple knife here. And it's literally with this case, depending on how you get it shipped. By the way, thanks to the guys at Tech here in Australia for getting this one to me. I have actually had this one for quite a while. It's been sitting in my storage room and I've been trying not to look at it so I don't freak out about wanting to open it. But the guys at Tech got this one. It was one of the last ones they had before they got refreshed while I was in lockdown. So thank you guys. All right, let's get this open. Now, oh, she's a heavy one. I always like getting a case that's got a bit of weight to it, because if you see weight on a case, that instantly tells to me build quality. And I think that's the key to most things these days. Just going to drop it down here, people. Oh. Come on. There we go. All right. Whew. Must be getting old. Doing that with one person is not as easy as it used to be. So we're this side up. No, actually, you know what? We'll go this way first. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I keep boxes for everything, because I like to keep good care of my stuff. So, and the reason I do that is because I don't believe in a case like this where it's $100 case, right? In American, 150 in Australian. With the added bonuses, you're probably looking at about 180, 190. Why can't someone else use this when I'm done? I don't believe in throwing things away. So let's have a look at this front on. Whoa, there we go. As you see, full front mesh case, and you can actually see the fan sticking in there. Let's see if we can get zoomed in on this. Oh. So you'll see here, 140mm fans in the front, full front open mesh case, which is great. On the top, they are magnetic filters, seem to be the rage now, so that's great. And they give you a little care package underneath. Look at that. Let's zoom out here. Get on my face. Put my face back in the shot. There we go. So thank you for your purchase. We're excited to have you on our mission, join us on our mission to empower PC enthusiasts. Well, that's good. Thanks, Lian Li. Love it. There's a installation guide, so this will cover installing all your bits and pieces, so your fans, and your different layouts. And the final one, oh, beautiful. They actually provide you with layouts for the front I/O and everything in the back. That's, you know what, Lian Li, I'm impressed. Since we started this venture, I tell you what, I'm becoming more and more impressed with specific manufacturers. Silverstone, especially that power supply, that the Strider power supply, that was amazing for the build we did last. I've got an EVGA one in my current build. That's, you know, an upgrade. That's going great. I went off MSI for a little bit, but their Z390 board that I got just to upgrade my current rig is going really well, so I can't complain with that. Yeah, having a lot of luck with some good manufacturers. So let's keep going with the case. Now, as you can see, it is a pretty case. Let's not deny that. It is a very pretty case, and I apologize for that light above. I don't have a diffuser for it yet, but it's coming. I think the best thing about this is going from the Lian Li Lancool II, which the internals were amazing. It looked very similar. It was a little bit sleeker in the front because it had just 2 vent panels. They're very pretty cases, but Lian Li have actually listened to people and have rebooted a very popular case with very, very smart you know, changes just to get that thermal in. So as you can see, you might not be able to actually see it very well, but one of the other big changes is on the Lancool II, this just had some slots along the top of the PSU shroud. So that opens like that. It is now perforated mesh, and it locks in place magnetically. The back one doesn't have the same perforated mesh, but it does have 2 2.5 inch drive sleds there, so that's fine. The point is to create airflow, which will help come in from the bottom, bring it up to the top. So that's pretty cool. So let's get this one open and let's have a look. So to open it, get out of the way, I fix it, thank you. You know what, just to be safe, we're gonna pull that glass off because no one might like I'll bump it and away it'll go. The back is the exact same, guys, so I'm just gonna take that one off as well, because then when I'm shifting things around, I'm not gonna break stuff. And of course you can imagine if I broke my case for my build, how upset I would be at myself. Cool. So I'm just going to reposition the camera a little bit so I can focus in more in here so I can show you a bit better. So just bear with me a moment. In terms of the fans, 120mm in the back. In the top, you can fit 2 120mm or 2 140mm fans. In the front, it'll fit 3 120s or 2 140s. And as I mentioned here, the 2 120s here. So radiator support. At the top, you can fit a 240mm radiator. In the front, here we go. It's 240, 280 or 360mm radiators in the front, for those of you who are looking at water cooling. As Lian Li state, the clearance measurements for graphics cards are up to 384mm. That is obviously if you're not doing any water cooling, so you don't have any reservoirs or pumps or radiators in the front, you'll fit a 384mm graphics card. If you're doing stuff like that, then I would be very mindful of that. I would also recommend, if you're doing a graphics card that long, you get the anti-sag bracket. Cooling tower, so if you're going air cooling from the CPU to the tempered glass panel, 176mm of clearance. That is obviously going to differ depending on the cooler itself. One thing you need to remember with air coolers is that if on the top, they generally have little end ports for the copper heat pipes. That is generally not taken into account in the height of the cooler, so you need to be mindful of that. And for your power supply, up to 210 millimeters, and that is obviously dependent on where you put the drive sled, so whether you slide it forward, slide it back. So that's the key thing about this drive sled. It can slide forward, slide back, and I believe you can also remove it as well. This multi-way bracket is mainly for motherboards. So this case will take, in standard configuration as it is now, it will take an ATX, MATX, or an ITX board. If you did want to use what's called an EATX board, which is the largest boards that you can kind of get, and they don't really have a specific sizing, some are bigger than others, some are not, you can actually take this bracket, and you see how you've got this clearance here, you can turn it around and run the cables through there still, but it gives you more space to put the EATX board in. When we're looking at storage, you're probably wondering how many drives can you fit in this case. We've got 3, 4, 5. If I told you that in this case that you can fit 9 drives or 9 storage devices with a maximum of 3.5 inch drives, pretty good, eh? Now, let me turn this around so that we can have a look at the back. Now here is Lian Li's party piece. Now I mentioned to you that this case is probably one of the best cases I've seen for cable management, and as you can see, it is very modular at the back. Everything's nice and clean. 2 more SSD drive sleds there, or you could put a Commander, like a Commander Pro or something like that, and just here there's, you probably won't be able to see that actually, there's 2 more sleds just here too. As you can see here, this is where the hot swavel backplate will go in, because that's the drive sled. When we open up these bad boys, there you go. Get this one done. Very pretty. Everything's all nice and neat. It's got nice sort of channels. You've got your PWM hub there, or your fan hub there, which goes to the top. Let's take a look at the front. Now, lift that one up. Let's see if I can. So you'll see here, nice clicky power button. This is the USB-C port, so you just pull it out and then you'd install the bracket. 3.2 USBs at the front, and microphone or headphone jack, and reset. And then you've got, this is the PWM fan. So you've got low, medium, high, and A, which I haven't really looked into, but I believe it hands it over to the motherboard. So I'd have to have a look into that one. But so, I mentioned before about the front. Now, it should just be a matter of 1, 2, 3. Needs a little bit of force, which is good. Uses really strong clips, which is awesome. And as you can see here, you can see that mesh that I was talking about. It's really pretty. Now, you'll see that whole bracket comes out. So you disconnect the fans, you can pull the whole bracket out, put your radiator in. I recommend putting the radiator in here. And then depending on how you're configuring it, there's actually, get in there. There's actually 3 stages in which you can screw this in. And once you pull out the little side plate that I mentioned before, it'll actually go back a little bit further. You can mount it at about that position, or just flush. So I'd recommend, if you're gonna put radiator in and you have the space, especially if you're using like an AIO or something, I would recommend sitting it back, keeping it flatter so you keep as much room between the front panel or the front part of the case. I've just put the fan, I can re-screw that back in. In the bottom drive sled, you've got your Lancool II Mesh box. Comes with all your little bits and pieces. So you've got screws, you've got some tweezers, zip ties. There's also some nylon zip ties in there, which is pretty cool. But everything you're gonna need, washers, all that sort of stuff. And it looks like it also has the screw ports in for the 2.5-inch SSD, so that's really cool. Just sort of in conclusion, if you're looking for a case, if you're not looking for an entry-level case, if you want something with good thermals, you know, good airflow, looks pretty, I mean, let's face it, you're gonna look at it every day, and sometimes we do want to make sure we've got a computer that looks nice, not just, you know, performs well. But everyone here at iCanMod would definitely recommend the Lian Li Lancool II Mesh. Whether you pick the RGB or the performance version, it's entirely up to you. And that's why I've picked it for myself. I've done countless hours of research looking for the perfect case for what I want to do. I'm not building an over-top, high-end, super crazy water-cooled gaming rig. I just want something that looks good, and I want something that is functional for what I'm doing. And it has the expandability that in the future, if I do want to water cool, if I do want to, you know, change my build, I intend to keep this case for a good while now, and use it in some way, shape or form. And if I ever don't want it anymore because I've found a new case that I prefer, then I'll look to give this away to somebody, because I think this case is timeless. Just the possibilities of it. So Lian Li, well done. I want to say that really quickly that this video is not sponsored in any way, shape or form by Lian Li. This is purely my own thoughts, or our own thoughts at the channel. We are going to always give you honest opinions of what we look at. If we don't like it, we'll tell you we don't like it. If there's flaws in it, we'll tell you there's flaws in it. And to be honest, like, I think the whole concept of this case is great. I think 99% of it has been executed wonderfully, but if I had to have any nitpicks, that hot swappable backplate, Lian Li, find another way other than using double-sided glue or tape to secure those the plastic into the sled. Surely there's some kind of one-way clip or something we could use instead, because that is so fiddly. And if it's if you're a younger person that's going to do this, you're definitely going to need some help from an adult potentially, or someone older, to help you get that all done correctly, because it is it's very fiddly. It took me a little bit, and I've been doing this for a while. So other than that, it's a great concept, it's a great idea, and I'm not knocking it at all, other than just what can we do a little bit better moving forward, and that's probably the only thing. The USB-C in the front panel, I might throw some of the bloopers in. It was a bit fiddly trying to get it in and out. I don't know if there's a better way you could do it, Lian Li. I haven't thought about that yet, but if we can find an easier way to get that installed, maybe having it as a separate section so you don't have to drop that whole front I/O panel out, that'd be pretty cool. But other than that, that's the Lancool II Mesh Performance. I'm really excited to build this computer. A lot of it is now based on availability of the parts that I want. I'm being very specific, so it might take a while, might take 3, 4, 5 months, but that's fine. We'll keep making videos in the meantime. Other than that, you know, have a great day, guys. Thank you for joining us once again here at iCanMod, and, you know, as always, keep building and keep learning.